Hey guys, this week and probably into next week, you're going to be working in this Google document called Writing About Reading. You're going to file, make a copy, put your name in front of it so it will say your name and then Writing About Reading, and you'll share it back to either Mr. Michael or myself for us to check over. So you're going to be reading fiction books at home and fiction articles that we're going to be putting in here. Now, as readers of fiction, you're always looking at setting, character development, you're looking at problems and solutions and story arcs. There's a lot that you're taking in. And sometimes the questions that you get asked about books are literal, meaning they're directly in this story. So if I said, hey, what color hat was the boy wearing? You could go back and find it. And some things you have to inference or figure out, meaning you have to take the clues in the story plus what you know about life and figure out what's going on. So if the character was storming up the stairs and slammed the door, you can think, well, I've done that before and it's because I was mad, and you can put it together that something happened that the character is upset about. So we're going to practice skills like that. Some questions will be multiple choice, some are going to be writing about reading, so they're going to be long and strong ones. So I just want to go through today's. You have your directions. You're going to read about the Scarlet Ribbon, and there's 7 multiple choice questions that follow with it. So as good like readers do when there's questions coming, you should go and look at them first so that your mind is already in like that set of, okay, this is what I'm thinking about. So if you skip to slide 8, you have your first question. So it says, what detail from paragraph 1 best supports the theme? So today we're going to look at theme, which is something you've been doing a lot this year. Theme is the message of the story, something that you take away and can then use in your life, like how to treat others, things like that. So one of these options is going to be something that supports the theme or message of the story. There's always going to be one or two that don't make sense. And then after that, you kind of narrow it down and figure that out. The next one's going to talk about setting. So we talked, hopefully you did, with Miss Breen in historical fiction about how the setting can sometimes play a part. Because a character lives someplace, it might affect their life. So right now, because we're living during this coronavirus outbreak, our lives are affected. If we were living during a wartime, our lives would be affected. If we were living in Germany during World War II and we were Jewish, our life would be affected. So sometimes the setting is just a place. It's just a street, it's just a house, it's just a school. And other times it plays a huge part because of the location. So I want you to pay attention to where the story takes place and how it's affecting the characters. Another one is going to be about setting as well. And then these, you're going to go ahead and look at phrases, like what they could mean. So the phrase, the knowledge warming her. Knowledge can't warm someone. It's intelligence, it's what you're getting. So what does that really mean? The next one, mournful. What do you think the word mournful means? If you go back and read the sentence that it's in, it can help you figure out what word. You can always take the word and plug it in and say, does that make sense? You also have characters' actions. So it says which sentence from the story best, and it's bolded because there might be others that kind of work, but what one's the best shows how a character's action is helping develop the story. So what did they do that was a major part of the story that then moved it along? The next one says, which statement best describes how Kaniyaka, I think that's how Miss Harity says it. Kanakaya? I think that sounds better. Changes from the beginning to the end. So looking at character change. What did she think, do, or say at the beginning, and how did her thoughts change? The last one, which detail would be most important to include in a summary of the story? So summary, who, what, where, when. Remember we had somebody wanted, but so then, finally. So the idea of what would be important if I asked you to tell me about the story and what can be left out. Okay, so your focus is some of these test-taking skills as readers, and what you're really looking at today are character development with character change and setting. Those are 2 big things, and then 1 question on theme, and then some other ones in vocabulary. So maybe reread these questions, and then as you read, if you want to stop, you can always stop and then go ahead and answer the questions. Tomorrow we'll start some long and strong responses. So today it's going to be just multiple choice. In my morning message video, I went through kind of the zooming and how to answer them. So this was more just some thoughts as readers for today's work. So I am here if you need me. Do your best and we'll chat soon.